Good morning. Gina Minyard here, excuse me, for a live yoga class. We'll start in about a minute. See who is joining live. I'm looking over here. My computer's over here. Camera's over here, so that's why I turned this way. It's just an internet situation. Okay, good morning. So for this class, it's really good to have a couple blocks, at least one block if you have it, and a yoga blanket, or if you don't have a yoga blanket, you can use a thick towel, bath towel, or good firm blankets, like I think throw blanket is something smaller that you can roll up like so. So we'll go ahead and get started. It's 10 o'clock. To welcome those of you joining. Is here in Atlanta, Georgia for yoga. Sorry, I'm still waking up this morning. Another beautiful spring day. So if you take your blanket or whatever you're using for a blanket and roll it up from the long side of a rectangle. And we are going to do calf smashing here. So you can lean carefully onto your head or not. We're going to roll that blanket and wedge it behind your knees, and giving you a calf massage, and it opens up the connective tissue from your feet, really all up to your whole back body. So today, this is to help us for our work we'll be doing today. We're going to focus on with the coming new moon in Taurus at the same day as Earth Day, right? So this celebration honoring the Earth, our connection to the Earth. How can we live in a deeper relationship to the Earth? And of course, with all that's happening in this crisis with the coronavirus and the total lifestyle shift that's happening, one thing that's happening that's like, it's amazing, it's beautiful, but it's also kind of sad in a certain way with all the stay-at-home orders. The sky has been so clear. We've had an incredible springtime. And it just shows, you hear about like these stories of the national parks, all the animals are, out to play more, and gosh, even the pandas in a zoo somewhere finally mated because there weren't people around. And it just shows how much more life, and when we know this, like life goes on without us. And in fact, you could say life on planet Earth is maybe in a better way, maybe not without us, let's not say it that way. But the impact of what we do as humans is very real. And so my hope, and I'm sure all of us agree, that in this time of transition, transformation, really, this wish that we can come out of this time living in a better, more harmonious way on every level for, yes, our social systems and living in harmony with each other, but especially as well our relationship with the planet. So we're going to practice today with the new moon energy coming tomorrow. It's like, yes, a chant, we want to go with that. There's maybe less energy, more of an inward focus, and just the invitation to clear out and let go. And so for both of these themes, we'll be working a lot on our feet, opening up our feet and our legs and our hips to increase our connection, our like actual connection to the ground beneath us, to deepen that relationship to the earth. We'll also focus on the breath and how can we connect to a deeper receptiveness of the breath, which is about, again, connectivity and relationship to all of life. So that's what the calf smashing's hopefully already helping us connect to. You can scoot it back for another roll, another spot on the calves. You can, it's fine to lean gently onto your hands if it's a little intense for you. And to deepen the intensity. So I'm just looking at making sure everything's going okay over here. You sit back and ground down even more. Okay. So a couple more breaths here, and you can even move a little bit side to side. Those who take my classes regularly are used to this, and it's like, yes, at first it's very, very uncomfortable, and then it gets to be less uncomfortable, and you really start to feel what it does for you, and you actually kind of want to do it, believe it or not, over time, for what it does for you. So move back to one more spot, maybe closer, just above that Achilles area. exhale and settle down into it. The exhales help us to release our tension, the way we, in the busyness of life, and we do get hardened, we do get contracted. So the exhale helps us to soften, but then it's still about the inhale from that sort of bottoming out of the exhale. Can we breathe down and in? Can we breathe even down and into our pelvis? Can we even breathe down and into our feet? Can we open up our feet, soles of our feet with every inhale? We'll see if we can. Okay, so let's take a seat. So you guys sit up on that blanket roll or on a block. You want to sit, I'm going to turn this way. The idea is to sit high enough to where the low back is in its natural curve, because that's an indication that your pelvis is level to the ground. And if you're rounded and tight and it looks more like this, there's already a block physically, structurally to your connection to the earth, to the pelvic floor being level to the earth. So it's good to sit up on a blanket or a block, even 2 blankets, sit with some height so that you would already start in this deeper alignment of your pelvis and your spine. Oh, hey, Andy, it's nice to see you there. All right. So with that, you can soften your gaze or close your eyes. Take a few moments here, again, to just in this receptive way, just feeling your breath. Yes, allow an exhale to move through you, to help you to settle, to sift, to release, get a little heavier with that exhale through the bones of your pelvis and your legs. Those are the denser bones of the body. Earth, the element of earth is dense. We know that even the planet, obviously Earth itself, dense, and it has an iron core, right, that pulls us with a connection of gravity, right? So let gravity work its way through your bones and get more settled in this way. So that, again, with the inhale, you can receive the in-breath a little more deeply and expansively. Letting that move through you. The inhale drawing down. The current of the inhale goes down and in, and it's both our connection to the cosmos through receiving the breath. The more we can breathe down as it's breathing all the way to the root of the body. Now that's not physically, right? It's more something that happens energetically. Then again, we feel anchored through the breath to our connection to the earth, to each other. So bring your hands to touch at the heart. We'll making this connection more real through our yoga practice, to the earth, to each other, to live in greater harmony and connection. So we'll open our practice together with an Om. Inhale fully. Bow your head to your heart. Lowering your hands to your thighs. Lift your head, open your eyes. All right, so clear off your mats and make your way up to table pose. And set your hands well. Take a moment to spread through your palms, your fingers, and try to make good contact, even with the hands as well, to the ground. Hands, mostly feet today, but really foundation in general. We want to clarify and open up. So pressing down finger pads, knuckles, especially that index finger knuckle, and move your knees back a little behind the line of the hips. And with that, toes tucked under, push down into your toes, the big toes especially, spread your pinky toes apart. And sit back a little further into your hips. Start just to stretch the hips up a little higher, lowering the chest a little lower. And then lift your hips up into a down dog. And make this again about hands really pressing, your feet really working. So as you spread from big toe to pinky toe, keep opening that up. And then start to press down through one heel. And then switch it, press down to the other heel. And just start to open it up side to side in this way. Pedaling, swishing, swiveling. And you can start to bring that into some just freer movements. You can make this very much about your feet. And so as you bend the knees, that might make it easier. And just think about opening up the soles of your feet, which again, the calf smashing gives us some good headway for that. All right, come down to table. Child's pose. Take your knees wide, point your feet back. Start with hips to heels, so make that the priority. So lift your abdomen, tone those muscles, sit down to the hips first. Get that as far as that goes. You might need to put the blanket behind the knees again for that, no worries. Then walk the hands forward and come down. So what I'm getting at here is don't lift your butt up to put your head down. Make the hips the heaviest part, even if the head has to stay up. But maybe you can lower down a little further, maybe with arms under the forehead or a block under your forehead. And take a few breaths here, grounding your hips, toning your belly in and up to support that downward movement through the hips. And breathing in here, great place to, again, think about inhaling down into the back of the ribs. That's the deepest part of the inhale. And even more energetically, can you breathe down into the bowl of the pelvis? Even can you feel them widening slightly as you breathe in and breathe out. Okay, so come back up to table. Bring your feet to, knees together, toes tucked under, and sit back on your heels. So that's, that's actually the most intense version of this pose. So feet and knees together, or you can keep your feet, knees, hips width distance. And you can try to work that pinky toe a little more underneath, even more intense when you squeeze the heels close to in towards each other. And toning through your abdomen with that, elongate your spine. And with an inhale, circle the arms out and overhead. Interlace your fingers to the webbing of the fingers, and then turning up, stretching. So yeah, stretching your feet, stretching your hands, right? Stretching the palms open. Give the heels a squeeze. Press down into your feet. If that's just too much to sit back like that, then just kneel, but push down well into your feet so you get a good stretch there. Big breath in. And then exhale, lower those arms down by your sides. All right, so back to table. And set the hands well. Move your knees back a little further, and then knee down, plank pose. So knee down plank pose. That can be knees far enough back to where as you lean forward, more or less a straight line from knees to top of head. Option, of course, to lift those knees up for plank pose. If this is too much on your hands, wrists, come down to your forearm. Join you there anyway shortly. And just hold for a few breaths. So hard work here, right? Holding plank, but building this steadiness, this sort of condensing gravitational pull to your own center, pressing finger pads, knuckles down, even like the toes you were just practicing. Try to walk, try to lean forward more to the balls of the feet, if possible, right? Squeeze your heels in and tone your abdomen. Low belly, front ribs, working that, trying to work that evenly, slide your throat back, breathing deeply, one more full breath. And then we'll lower down, you can touch the knees or not, but bend those elbows, slowly with an exhale, come on down. And stretch the legs behind you, make a pillow under your head with your forearms, and lower your head down from there. Do stretch your legs long behind you. And after all that toes tucked position, now reach your feet straight back, pointing through the toes a little bit more. Right, spread the pinky toes still go out to the side. Just let that open up your ankles and feet the other way. Meanwhile, here, breathe down into your belly. And again, here's a great place to really connect to that downward breath, that widening breath through the low ribs, the sides of the ribs. So as you breathe into your belly, you might feel that area expand and open. And you even again breathe into your pelvis and feel that area more subtly expand and open. Bonus, can you inhale and feel the soles of your feet opening, like though you're receiving the breath through your feet as well. All right. So then hands on the floor by your chest, downward facing dog, push it up and back once again. Let's take a few breaths here. So press into the hands with the bend of your knees. Again, pinky toes spreading against the anchor of your big toes. And a few more pedals here as you go. All right, so then from here, one more time, lower down to the knees and either swing your feet around or bring your feet underneath you and come on down then to your back. And from there, pick your feet up off the floor, bring your hands to the fronts of your thighs. Spread your toes. Again, think about opening up the soles of the feet. Now the feet are up in the air, right? So you can almost feel a little more spaciousness there. But the idea is to really work. Big toes pressing, pinky toes spreading, and pull from feet to hips. You're pulling stockings up the legs, but it's physically, but also energetically. Meanwhile, push forward and up with your hands, and then again, tighten through the core, low belly, navel, ribs, we narrow in and draw back, elongating through your spine as you breathe. Stretching it out, opening it up. And then feet on the floor. Take your arms out in a T, feet to the edges of your mat. Stay strong. The edges of the feet, lower both knees to the right. So open up now through that whole left side of the body there. Pull your ribs in on the left, twist a little more to the left as you reach through that left knee. Come back up to center. With an inhale, both knees over to the left with your exhale. Opening up that whole right side there. And pull your ribs back on the right to anchor that right shoulder blade strong. And twisting, it's a little bit of twist in your ribs. And then just again, reaching through that knee to open up those hips, front of the hip there. All right, so bring it back up to center. Bring the feet back to hips width. Again, take the legs up, hands on fronts of thighs, push forward and up. Tighten through the center. And then take a breath, and with the exhale, now actually flex upwards. Hold on to your thighs. Push into your hands. And keep drawing at your belly, your waistline, throat back, and just stretch out your back a little more here. So push forward and elongate, breathing. All right, lower down, and now bring soles of feet together, knees apart. And from that very rounded shape in your back, now come into the other position. Low back curves in. You can even lift your chest a little higher, supported with those arm bones and shoulder blades. And then here, 3 or so deep breaths. So now we're really open in the front body. Can you still inhale down into those low ribs, down into the pelvis? Here you might, again, this might be actually the easiest position we've done so far to feel the inhale, descending and widening into the pelvis. Just the shape of the back here really helps us to feel that. And just pause for a moment. Even the soles of the feet touching, is there just a receptivity there? Our connection to the earth, connection to life comes first and foremost from our connection to ourselves, our breath, this flow of the vital energy, the prana. So just taking a moment to feel that. And we'll open to that more and more as we go. All right, so bring those knees up. And again, legs up and roll, flex up once again. An option to roll to one side to come up, or rock and roll up and come over those feet, or swing them to one side, downward facing dog, stretch it back. Breathing out, just that in that same way, really opening up right through the center. The breath into the low ribs, the side ribs, and stretching fully through your down dog with that. So look to the front, and with your heels high, hips high, tiptoe on your way forward. Ground your feet, arch up halfway with the inhale, and fold forward with your exhale. Inhale, arch up to halfway. Hands on thighs, head up and chest up, and push into your feet. Stand with an inhale, reach up overhead. Exhale, lower the arms. So just a little more for the feet here, because again, this is so much about our actual physical connection to the earth, right? Our feet. So bring a bend to your knees, sit back into your hips, hands on your hips. And just like when you sat on the blanket and you were sitting with sit bones back, the idea is, again, it keeps the pelvic floor more balanced and open, even though here it's tipping a little further back. So get down into your feet, press your big toes down, spread your pinky toes apart. And I like to lift a heel and drag. So lift the heel and push into the ball of the foot and drag back. And you'll feel calf, hamstring, glute with that. Can you also feel the pull up from the foot into the hip, just the sheath of muscles upwards. Keep that as you lower down to the other side. Press your big toe down, pressing the ball of the foot. Drag back and actively draw upwards. And so even though we want to ultimately root down, so push the heels down, and then with an inhale, stand up. It's like, yes, like trees and all the plants root down into the earth. And we'll do that as well. Exhale, lower the arms. So now take your block. Part of our connection chronically, which means energetically, so just put the block between your shins, a few inches below the knees, is that we're also, again, as if inhaling from the feet up into the hips. So inhaling down into the pelvis is also inhaling from the soles of the feet up. So squeezing the block, just making the legs very solid. a sense of pulling in, but also pulling up. This time, press your hands onto the tops of your thighs as you sit back and grounding the thigh bones, pushing the femur bones to the backs of the legs. It just helps us to release downward, to ground downward. So you're pulling the muscles up and then pushing back down through the bones. Tone your abdomen, lengthen your spine. And with an inhale, stand up with that. Keep squeezing the block. Strong through your belly as you reach overhead. Exhale, lower the arms and stay with it. Inhale, stretch overhead, palms face, and right hand holds left wrist. And we'll stretch over to the right. Shifting hips to the left, torso to the right. And let the side body stretch. Just open up more space to breathe. Stretching out those ribs a little bit more. Inhale, bring it back up. Take the other wrist and stretch it over sideways again. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, down to pelvis and low ribs. Breathing out, push into your feet as you stretch and lengthen and open. Good, inhale, back up to center. Exhale, open those arms down by your sides. And again, stretch overhead with the inhale. We go up to the front of the mat now. Okay. Exhale, hands on thighs. Keep pushing back, strong with your feet. Lengthen the spine with an inhale. And then tip forward from your hips on your way down. Bow your head down. Stretch a little more through those legs. Inhale, arch up to halfway. Remove the block and step your left foot back into a lunge. From here, pivot both feet to the left. So the hands then are under the shoulders and the feet are parallel. So then bend your knees and work your feet. Press your big toes down, spread your pinky toes apart. And with the bend of the knees, anytime we bend our knees and we make these sort of angular shapes, it just helps us to firm muscles more, to be more like earth. So keep drawing strength from the feet up the legs into the hips. And in the same way, think about pushing thighs back, even widening apart more. And then add a little movement to that. Bend a little more to your right knee, and then come to center. Bend a little more to your left knee. Right foot's still at the front of the mat. We're going to transition back in that direction. And after a couple more of these movements. So keep breathing. And as you go side to side, think about, again, pumping energy from feet to hips with strength and connection. Hey, Laura, I'm just now seeing your note. Good to see you. All right, so very good. So one more time here, and then the next time you bend into that right knee again, turn that back around into a lunge. So swivel carefully and move your right foot then all the way to the side of the mat. Bring your right hand to the inside of the right leg. And that could be, you can be up on a block here, right? That needs to be a little more height. And that right foot, turn the foot and the knee out to the side a little bit more. And so with that, drag the feet towards each other, press your back thigh higher. Something about drawing from the feet. Work those feet and toes. Pull the muscles up the legs. So where, yes, you actually lift a little higher into your pelvis to begin with. And as you tone your belly, firm the right hip and sink the front of the right thigh down. Like you're pushing that thigh down with the hand. That's it. Then press both palms down. And just right foot joins left foot in plank pose. Hold strong at center. And downward facing dog from there. Stretch it up and back. Look to the front with your heels high, hips high, tiptoe slowly on your way forward. Arch up halfway with the inhale. Right foot steps back. And you can move your left foot now to the edge of the mat, turning toe and knee out slightly. Hands under the shoulders. Or once again, a block works well there. Give yourself a little extra height. So breathing fully. Connect to your feet, connect to your breath, and like from the feet, as you can. You're about dragging the feet towards each other, and like you're pulling strength from the feet to the hips with that inhale, pressing your back leg higher. Then here, bend deeper into that left knee, and opening into it from there as you tone your center. Breathing in, breathing out. All right, press your palms down, plank pose, left foot joint to right, and this time we'll lower slowly down onto our front. Strong at the center. Reach your legs long and strong. Lift the hands off the floor to activate the back muscles there. Then press your hands down in cobra pose. About just reaching through your legs. Drawing the torso forward and up. Downward facing dog. Stretch it up and back. Keep breathing. So steady your hands. And with your inhale, lift your right leg slowly up and back behind you. Exhale, step that foot up between your hands. Good, so pause, make sure the foot gets there. Sometimes the harder step, just pick it up, slide it forward. Left hand's gonna stay on the floor, right hand on your knee. And we'll twist, belly and chest to the right. So again, you can use a block under that left hand for more height. Keep breathing. Stay connected to your breath, stay connected to your feet. And turn your belly and chest to the right. Open that right arm up as you wish here. Dragging the feet towards each other. You can press your back thigh higher. And sink the right thigh down, right? And as you push back down into that foot, turning more open. One more breath here. Exhale, touch it down, set to plank, hold your plank pose, steady through your center, downward facing dog, stretch it back. Left leg up with your inhale, hips level. Exhale, step that foot between your hands. Again, twisting lunge, so right hand under the shoulder or grab a block, left hand on your knee. Connect to the breath first and foremost. Make every part of your practice about how are you connecting. Feel your feet, feel your breath, draw strength up the legs, and back thigh pressing higher. Bend into that front knee as you twist, and stretch your left arm up as you wish. Opening up more from there. Lengthening through, smoothing out your breath. So here, take a full breath. Touch down with your left hand up, pivot both feet to the right, so come the other way. Feet parallel here. Once you get there, and with an inhale, arch up to halfway. Bend your knees slightly, hands on hips, elbows up, shoulders back. Rise up with your inhale. You might turn your right foot open to the right, keeping the left foot parallel the shoulder to the mat. You can also turn it in slightly. And with an inhale, open those arms wide, bend into your right knee. Take your forearm onto your thigh, and stretch the top arm past the ear for side angle pose. But even, again, look, if you need to, look down at your feet. Sometimes we look up and we're kind of up in our heads. We're just with what's the moving part. Go back to what supports, which is always your feet and, of course, your breath. So drag the feet towards each other by thinking about pulling strength up the legs, thighs back. As you lift your core, pulling that right hip in. Yes, open the right knee further to the right with that. And stretching into it. That's it. Inhale back up to center. Second side, turn the left foot open. And the right foot parallel or slightly turn in, bend into that knee, forearm on the thigh, or top arm past the ear, and top arm past the ear. Of course, you can take that left hand deeper too. You can adjust your feet to where you feel balanced and lined up. Breathe down and in, even as you breathe up from your feet, kind of all at the same time. So breathe into your connection to the earth, the cosmos, with the strong legs, the strong lower legs. The tendency here is to lock out that back knee. So again, by pushing into the ball of the foot, you stay more connected. Top of the thigh back, lift your core as you pull that left hip under, and bend deeper into that knee. Right, push into both feet, rise with the inhale, feet straight ahead, and then hands on hips, pull your heels in. So knees and toes point in the same direction. At a slant here, a diagonal slant. And take those arms out into a T shape. So you're gonna press into your feet, big toes pressing, pinky toes spreading, draw strength up the legs like you're squeezing the feet towards each other. And move the thigh bones back, sit bones back, and then tighten the hips, tighten the core at the same time. So you're still in a low back curve, that pelvic floor nice and open, and elongate your spine. Reach to the tailbone, reach to the top of the head. Grounding into your feet, but opening to the breath. So it's a great pose to connect to it all. Earth and breath and just your whole self working evenly here. Okay, so come up slowly, hands on hips, feet straight ahead, take a breath, and then tip from your hips. This time, hands under shoulders, stay like we did before, or you can walk your hands through and dive in, yes, a little deeper. Smooth, even breaths. Opening into it, press into your feet, toe into your center. Still drawing strength from feet into the hips, and tipping forward from there as you breathe. So inhale, lengthen to halfway. Let's pivot back to that left leading lunge. Come on around, lift your right heel, square forward. Step to plank pose. This time we'll lower down onto the front. Make it slow and earthy. Push into your hands, tighten your core, arm bones back. Stretch your legs long, press into the tops of the feet. And cobra pose, pull your heart forward and up. Downward facing dog with your exhale. So breathe fully here, open fully. And so look to the front of the mat, heels high, hips high, tiptoe slowly on your way forward. Arch up halfway with your inhale, fold with your exhale. And then arch up again halfway with your inhale, bend your knees, hands on thighs. Stand with the inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower the arms down by your sides. So you guys stay at the front of your mat as your arms going to turn this way so you can see me more clearly. Join your feet together, give it a squeeze to the middle. Now balancing on your left leg, bend your right leg up, moving towards tree pose. So turn that right knee open. You can have heel, ankle on heel, or going up a little higher perhaps, maybe all the way up to the thigh. Press footed leg together, hands at heart center. So again, how would the bottom of the foot's against our leg? It's just good to feel that contact that you're making with pressing in, but also with an openness from both feet up into the hips. So thigh bones back always. As you tone the core, yes, wrap those hips a little tighter without tucking, without blocking that energy flow. Stay at hands at heart center, or you can reach it up. Stay strong in the center, especially at the ribs. And here, really get that feeling of grounding back down. Like, of course, we can't have an Earth Day class without tree pose. So lower down from there, our breathing buddies, lower down. All right, so balancing, grounding through that right foot, bend your left leg up, turn the hip and leg out, and that foot on the lower leg anywhere, maybe to the upper leg. And again, just like when the soles of feet were pressed together before, that sensitivity, foot and legs together, and the touch of your hands, your breath. Breathe in as you press foot and leg together and thighs back. Breathe out as you send deeper roots down, pushing down, and tighten those hips to open a little bit more. Look at the top of the head. Maybe you're reaching those arms up with it. Keep breathing in, down and in. Breathing out as you unfold and open. One more full breath. And exhale, lower down. All right, so feet hips width at the front of your mats. And with your inhale, circle out through the arms and overhead. Bend your knees, hinge from your hips on your way down. Inhale, arch up to halfway. Step your left foot back into a lunge. And the same way, pivot both feet to the left. And hands on hips, elbows up, rise up with the inhale. Now here, turn your right foot open to the right once again. Line up front foot to the middle of the back foot. Open the arms wide with an inhale, and now warrior two, bending forward and to the right. And keeping the pelvis level to the floor. So again, our pelvic floor, that relationship to the earth. So draw strength at the legs, move the thighs back, but just notice what do you have to do in your hips to get more level there. Can you squeeze in your outer left hip a little tighter? Can you firm the right hip in a little more and lift your belly? Not tucking, again, not flattening, just bringing it into center. So open those arms wide with that, shoulder blades on the back. And just breathe down and wide, but open up a little more with every exhale, especially reach back a little more through that back arm. So keep opening the front knee to the right. Then with an inhale, straighten the front leg and move your pelvis and torso together. So yes, hinging into that right hip more, triangle pose. Hand down to shin or ankle, great time to grab that block at the outside of the leg there. Opening up triangle pose. Staying connected from soles of feet into hips. Tone the core, tighten that right glute, especially as you open across your chest. Notice that front leg, you squeeze your kneecap up higher. Really make the muscles firm on all sides of the legs there. So then take a big breath. Stay in triangle pose. Reach the top arm past the ear, getting a little more side stretch there. Turn that bicep down, ribs in strong. Take another full breath and keep reaching and come touching down. So it's again, swivel into a lunge, and we'll add in again here. So swivel around, adjust your feet so that right foot is more open to the right. Lower your back knee down. And here, we'll twist, we'll take a quad stretch. You can even move your right foot further to the right like we did before, so that's your choice. Left hand on the floor, great time to use a block under the hand if you need it. You also might need to cushion that back knee with a blanket, or even just flipping the sticky mat a little thicker under that part. So twist and open, the right hand's gonna reach back and find that left foot. A little pro tip here is you may have to back up to get the foot, because either way, you do wanna have your hip and heel touching. So you're not hanging down this way, it's not this version of quad stretch, but backing up, try to close that knee joint. Stay strong in the feet. So even that back foot, kicking the foot to the pinky edge to the side, tone your belly in and up, which will help you to keep opening that right knee to the right. So tone the center, lengthen the spine, turn more open. Okay, release down from there. Right hand, again, to the inside of the foot. Move it out of the way if you need to. And right foot joins left, plank, downward facing dog. Stretch it back and breathe. Look to the front and with your breath, tiptoe or lightly hop forward. Arch up with your inhale. So all down the second side if you want to have a block ready to go. Right foot steps back. Pivot both feet to the right, and once they line up, hands on hips. Rise up with the inhale and turn your left foot back to the front of the mat. Lined up to the middle of the right foot. And bend, open those arms and bend into the left knee, warrior two. Like this broad stance. Be open through the soles of the feet. Think about pulling from soles of the feet up into the hips, like stockings, guys back. And leveling the hips. So some of that's the tone on this back leg, that outer hip tightening in. And some of it's the lift up on the front side of this left side of your belly. And firm that outer left hip into the knee to the left. Reaching out a little wider through that back arm, filling out the lungs even, down into the lower right side of the lungs more. Let that just center you in this very open, receptive shape. Not easy, just open, right? So the front knee opening to the left. Straighten your front leg. Shift your pelvis and spine together. So yes, hinging into that left hip crease. You can push it further back when you push your hand on your thigh. Top of right thigh stays back. And hand on shin or ankle, and maybe you're using that block here. Keep breathing. So yes, as we stretch in these different directions, it's kind of the idea of moving through these various shapes, staying open to the breath, opening up the energy pathways, the pranic pathways as much as our muscles. All of this making us more sensitive, more attuned. And practicing sensitivity and attunement. Practicing it right as we go. So again, strong repeated, thighs back, tighten that left glute, tighten your left kneecap up the leg more. And then left arm, over your right arm, past the ear. Staying in the triangle pose, the legs. Turning you up to the sky, breathing in, breathing out. Take a full breath here. And then reach the right arm past the ear, touching down. Lift your back heel, square your hips. So again, coming into this twisting quad stretch. So right hand down, maybe put a block there, left foot closer to the side of the mat, left hand on your knee. Even turning that left foot and knee out. Drag the feet towards each other, maybe opening up soles of feet, even here, twisting. Left arm stretches up, and really you could just hold the twist, or reach back, find that foot. And even though you're bringing that foot, you can work the edge of the foot, you can kick the foot into the hand, back the hip up to meet the heel. You can strap across the foot there even. All right, and tone your abdomen as you twist more open. Bending deeper into that left knee, elongate through. Breathing in, breathing out. Right, so carefully release left hand to the inside of that left foot, so moving it out to the side there. And step it to plank pose and hold. And then lower the knees to the floor. So table. And then take your right foot and pitch it a little further to the right. Then we're going to come swiveling around and doing really a knee down side plank, more or less. Lining up right hand actually to that back foot. But this is more for what we're about to do with the top leg. So this foot can be as far behind you as you need to help you to balance. But tighten the glutes, tighten your core like plank, and then just lift that left foot up to the height of the hip. And so notice the foot, it's like it's just flopping there, right? You're not connected to that channel. Spread your toes. Pull from the foot into the hip. And still top of thigh back, like you always would with that back leg, but tighten that bottom glute in more and just stay centered in your core. You can even stretch the top arm up from there. All right, lower it down. So this is giving us some information in our body. So pivot that left foot out to the side, right foot comes right behind that. Lining up left hand to that right foot, toning, turning up to the sky, this bottom shoulder. Of course, keep the wrist, the bicep pointing more straight ahead. Stick the top into the hip. And again, lifting that leg to the height of the hip. Work your toes. That pinky edge of the foot pressing upwards, but also think about drawing from the foot into the hip. You're suctioning the inhale from the foot into the hip to move the thigh back. And then tone the core. Yes, tighten that left glute. Maybe you stretch the top arm up. Breathing fully here. All right, touch it back down and stretch back to a downward facing dog. And for this down dog, walk your hands to your feet. Reach your legs. And head up, chest up, hands on hips, rise up from there. All right, so we have one more standing pose to go. We're gonna move into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, and we'll do it like we did from tree pose. So this may be an entry that you've not yet done. Maybe that's cool. Stand at the center of the mat, and if you're gonna use a block, put it to the right side, ready to use there. You can even put it in your hand, on the right hand if you wanted to. We're gonna start in tree pose. So bring your feet close, balancing on your left foot, bend your right leg up, turn the hip and leg out. Well, we'll start like as if going to tree. No, let's do tree. That's a great place to get it all happening. So right now, this left leg is the leg that you had up in the air from a moment ago. So just feel that strength from foot to hip. This right hip is, you gotta tighten in and really tone the core more. So then just keep hands on hips. So keep that right leg out where it is, the knee out to the side, even bend the standing leg. It's just a little step here, so maybe a foot. Both knees can bend. This one's straight ahead, this one's pointing to the front of the mat. And then from there, I'm just gonna scoot this way so you can see me better. Tip forward like a little teapot, right? Block is there if you like to use it. Or touch the floor for half moon pose. Here you are. Right knee can stay bent the whole time. The hand should be about a foot in front, kind of thumb lined up with the pinky toe. So tone your belly, tighten that right hip. Here's that top leg, draw from foot to hip. Keep the foot where you can see it. Your eyes, you should be able to see those toes. And that makes your thighs back. And then squeeze that right hip in more. Maybe straightening the right leg, tightening that kneecap. Pushing into that standing foot, staying connected. So then, rebend that knee, just come back the way you came. It's a little short transition there, right, and back to center. All right, so if you used your block, put it on the other side. Take a breath. Join the feet close. Balancing on your right leg. Bend the left leg up, turn hip and leg out. Tree pose, whatever angle of tree you were working before, just to refresh that connection. All right, so pulling in the center. That standing leg is the leg that's going to be lifted behind you, so feel the strength of that. And then this hip, this left glute tightening to keep the knee opening to the side. So with that, free that leg, take a little baby step, about a foot or so, and check that that foot is straight ahead. That's going to be the hardest part in the half moon for most people, is keeping that hip straight ahead. So if you need to turn this leg in a little more, that's fine, the back leg. So then hinging, reaching, use a block, of course, or lightly fingertips on the floor. Double check that left foot straight ahead, kneecap straight ahead. And also both feet, even that top leg, but also the bottom leg, right? Inhale, some soles of the feet up in the hips. That top leg, you'll see the toes out in front of you a little bit. Top of thigh back, and tighten that glute on the left side, maybe straighten the leg there. This top leg is not drooping. It's also not lifting necessarily super up, high up, just level with the hip there. Tighten the left hip to turn more up. Make sure that left kneecap is straight ahead. Breathe in, breathe out. Stay connected. Challenging pose, but very much about opening up these pathways. Okay, so bend the standing leg. Take that little step back. Okay. So to stand for a moment, go feet hips width. That allows usually more of a settling downwards. Receive the breath in and down. All the way down to your feet, but also just heaviness, heavier connection to all the way down through your bones, connected to breath, to earth. All right, come to the back of your mat. I'm just gonna take a sip of water here. Come to the back of your mat and just stand again, feet hips width. Inhale, stretch the arms overhead. Exhale, bend your knees, hold, hands on thighs, push into your thighs. Shift back into your hips. And again, after that, those very wide open stances there. Here we're turning inner thighs the other way. So it's very balancing, very grounding, so the inner thighs roll back more and to keep lifting your core, pushing against those thighs. then here, go a little wider with your feet. Keep it all happening. And clasp the hands behind your hips, or you grab a strap to put between your hands and we'll tip forward and stretch. Knees can stay as bent as you need them to keep your torso close to your legs. Maybe if your legs are a little tighter, no worries. Just stay strong in those feet from feet to hips, but also, again, of course, tone your belly, push down into your feet. Slide your shoulder blades more up your back so they don't just collapse towards your ears, and hang your head down. Keep a little bend in your elbows so just lock out there. One more breath. And then release that carefully. Past your hips, touch the floor, arch up with your inhale. Walk forward to downward facing dog. And with your inhale, lift your right leg slowly up behind you. Pigeon pose, bring your knee to chest. And then place that foot. You have options with the angle. Having that, as I have it, the shin is pretty far forward. So you can see that I'm on the side of the foot. If your knee tolerates that, great. If that's too much, come more on the top of the foot this way, right, pointed more straight back. And either way, stay connected from feet to hips. Even that back foot, tuck the toes under temporarily, right? Even that front foot, work the edge of the foot. And draw up the legs into the hips first. We're not just sinking down. That's hard on the joint. It's hard on the knee and the hip in the front. So draw in and up. Turn that left inner thigh to the sky. Tighten the right hip under as you firm your belly. And walk the hands forward. Don't fold forward just yet. All the way down just yet. Once you do it again, lift your belly up and shift your hips back and down more. And from there, you can even start to point that left foot back. Remember that child's pose we did at the very beginning? I wanted you to emphasize hips down. That's what we're doing here. More than, in fact, stay on your elbows. Instead of just trying to lay your chest on the floor, the head on the floor, that often uproots the hips and tips our weight forward. We want to tip it down, stay on the roots, ground down with the exhales. Lifting your belly in and up. And some of you may need to put a block or a blanket under that hip. That's fine. Just you're still staying active, right? You're not just then sitting down passively, but fine to add a little support there for sure. Keep toning the belly in and up, ribs pulling back so you're buoyant and breathing into low ribs, breathing into the pelvis. And the exhale again, keep shifting back and down. It's like I use that back foot to kind of pull myself back a little further, and then I point the foot to kind of seal the deal. But hips are level here. So we're not just resting in pigeon. I think this is a needed hip opener. All right, so walking the hands back, lift your chest, lift your head with the inhale. But then press your hands down and use that strong back leg also to lift up. So you're very light on the front leg as you transition. Take a breath in down dog. And the left leg up with your inhale. Bring that knee forward, rock forward. Carefully place the shin. Okay, maybe you're on the side of the foot at a diagonal angle. Maybe you're slanted more back this way. Getting what you need there. Again, if you need to put something under your hip, great. Just stay connected, stay active. Deep breaths, right? That nice exhale. So good. And then still from both feet, working the edges of both feet. Stress strength up the legs, scissoring in. Right inner thigh rolls up, outer left hip tightens. Tone your belly in and up as you shift your hips back and down. And even walk forward a little bit. And again, by even pushing forward into your hands, you can assist that scoot back and down. And then maybe even pointing that foot and come on down to your elbows and just keep exhaling down and through. Shifting your hips back and down. And the lift of your core facilitates that. First of all, staying light in your joints, but also directing that grounding energy down into your hips, down into your legs, back into your feet. To stay with it, and you get good at like enough effort to make that happen, but not so much effort that it's keeping you from opening up into your hips, into that grounding, clearing. One more breath here. And with an inhale, come up slowly. Use those hands, tuck the toes under, and again, use strong back leg and arms to go into your down dog. Last down dog. Just feel the difference here. Feel from where you started what's happening in your feet and your legs. And yes, of course, we've done a lot of poses since then, and we're stretched out physically, but we're also more open energetically. Can you press the big toes down? Can you, again, like it's like a suctioning from soles of feet up into the hips. Can you see how when I do that, I get my tops of my thighs actually move back more? And it's just all part of a physical, energetic, deeper connection. All right, lower down into a seat. So here, in your seat, fold your left heel to the outer right hip and turn the inner thigh down on that leg. And then your right foot, we're gonna do a very, like a wider version of Ardha Chandrasana, half lower the fish's pose. Of course, this left leg can be straight if you need to. But think about sitting up super tall, having this foot out in front of you. You can also have your left leg, even like the knee out wider, that would be fine. If that feels better to you, this bottom knee out to the side or crossed over, it's a little more of a hip stretch. So your choice. But press into that right foot. And make this about getting the low back in its natural curve. So some of you are going to sit on a blanket here, and that right hand pretty far behind you. So we are going to twist, but it's about creating an openness of the pelvis. So squeezing with your legs. Think about widening the sit bones and curving the low back in. And notice, pull the ribs in on the right and turn from there. Pushing down is that right hip, right foot. And you might feel something different in your low back when you finally get that low back in and you push down through right hip and foot. And think about elongating your spine. So it's not the typical way we practice this pose, but you often unravel the low back, which is also part of this downward descent, connection to the earth. All right, untwist from there. So just a different way of trying it. Bring your right heel underneath. Turn your thighs down on that side, widening out, and maybe that leg's wider too, that would be fine. Or a little more crossed over. But left foot pretty far out in front of you, right hand on that left knee, left hand pretty far back behind you. So use both legs squeezing in to curve that low back in, and instead of poking the ribs out on that front side, tighten the ribs in and just turn on the axis. So strong with the legs pulling in, this left hip, you gotta push down into it and push forward through the foot. And again, notice move this block out of the way, you can maybe see my low back better. Curving the low back in, not just lifting the ribs up from the base, curving up, and then turning at the waist. Just getting some freedom, some space there. So untwist carefully, and then we'll take soles of feet together. Now, remember what we talked about at the very beginning of class. If your soles of feet are together and you're like falling back here in your back, like this, sit up. Block does really well here, actually, or sit on a blanket. The block is a nice solid support for those sit bones. And take soles of feet together and tip the pelvis more forward. Try to get more to the front edge of your sit bones. So again, that low back